What is up, Alabama fans? Stacey Blackwood here, joined by my good buddy Jake Thomas for another edition of Tide Talk Live. And as you can see below, we're going to be looking at Saturday's scrimmage and what we're kind of expecting to see from the Crimson Tide and what's going to kind of come out of the scrimmage on Saturday. Jake, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. Tomorrow's Friday, and then the weekend's here, and it's actually fixing to get a little bit cooler around our part. So I'm definitely excited for that. But I'm also definitely excited about Alabama football is just around the corner, man.
Yeah, we're 23 days away at the moment of the recording, so it's so close. You can smell it. Once
hmm
scrimmages start, you know that football is back, and it's been a lot of fun to keep up with the practices so far. I think they've had 6 or 7 practices so far.
hmm
So there's been a lot happened so far in fall camp, and we're going to be talking about what we're going to expect to see, or kind of anticipating to hear that happens on Saturday scrimmage. But before we do that, as always, you know the drill here. We want to hear from you guys. So jump in the comment section and answer our question of the day. What are you expecting to see from Alabama, or what questions are you looking to possibly be answered during Alabama's first scrimmage of the fall on Saturday? Jump in the comments and answer that right now. While you're at it, hit that thumbs up button. Help this video reach 100 likes. And also, if you're not already, hit that subscribe button. We're already over 1,000 subscribers, and we're well on our way to 2,000. So help us reach that goal as well. All right, Jake, let's just dive right into the meat of this. We're not going to keep everybody too long, but what if you had to pick one thing, and we're going to talk about several things, but if you had to pick one thing that you would like to have, maybe not the question answered, but maybe one step closer to having that question answered following Saturday's scrimmage?
I have several, but if we got keen in on one, it would be who's going to be the right tackle. And from reports that I've seen coming out of camp already, looks like J.C. Latham has stepped up and I wouldn't say solidify that spot because it's still kind of open, but he is a front runner and I think if he gets it, then it will solidify that offensive line. I really think the offensive line is going to be different this year. It's going to be a lot better than it was last year, just because of the coaching and the talent standpoint, and a little bit more experience as well.
Yeah, before the injuries to Cameron Latou and JoJo Earl, really it was the offensive line that
Right.
was really kind of the question mark going into fall camp, and how it would kind of line up. You kind of have a good idea of what, 5 or 6 guys it may be, but
hmm
it depending on what kind of order they may be. I think that's probably number one still, despite the injuries to Latu and Earl, is how the offensive line looks and what guy lines up where. I think we know that from all indications, Darren Dalcourt has been the guy primarily taking the snaps as the top center there in fall camp, with
hmm
Seth McLaughlin right there behind him. So it's going to be interesting to see who is the guy with the first team offense on Saturday, and also who's going to be at left tackle, and like you mentioned, who's going to be at right tackle. I think right
hmm
now you're probably going to see maybe even Kendall Randolph or Tyler Steen at that left tackle spot, and then
hmm
most likely J.C. Latham at right tackle. I think Coach Saban talked about J.C. Latham yesterday during his press conference, and how he's improved so much from last season. He's more comfortable in the offense. He plays with a lot of power, with a lot of toughness. So I think J.C. Latham is probably going to hold down one of those tackle spots, depending if it's going to be on the left side or the right side. But I'm assuming at the moment it's going to be on the right side. And so I think at left tackle, that's really where the question's at. And to me, if I had to bet, it's going to be Tyler Steen when it's all said and done. We've talked about
Yeah.
that all summer once he, made his commitment to Alabama, once he entered the transfer portal from Vanderbilt. So I think it's going to be Tyler Steen at left tackle. So it's going to be Tyler Steen at left tackle, Cohen at left guard, Dalcourt at center, Eku at right guard, and then Jason Latham at right tackle. That's my projection right now, what it's going to look like Saturday. But, I have a feeling they're probably going to mix it up a good bit there along the offensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's still, like you said, there's 3 or 4 more guys that's still in the running, like Randolph. You still got
Amari
Damien
Kite,
Mari Kite, Damien George is still there, So,
right.
um, but yeah, it's still an open, for position. But I think Latham and Steen is ultimately going to be the 2 guys that win out there at the tackle positions.
Right. And as far as expectations, kind of tying this into kind of our topic for this episode, is my expectation is to learn a little bit more about who is still in the mix there for them those starting spots along the offensive line. So that's really the expectation that I would like to see and what I'm hoping to see fall in the scrimmage on Saturday. But I think another position group, and I talked about it just a second ago, is tight end. Jake, who's
Yeah.
the guy that's going to step up? Bryce Young mentioned Miles Ketzelman just the other
Yeah.
day. I think in his Monday or Tuesday press conference, whatever day that was, as a guy that's really playing well. He knows Robbie Oots really well because he played with him last year some. So I think those two guys may be the leaders in the clubhouse there in the tight end position. But that's also something I would like to see is kind of who's stepped up there so far and who's going to put up a big day for Alabama there at the tight end position.
Absolutely. Oots does have the experience, and Kesselman, he come in, I think from a junior college. So I mean, he does have experience. He probably don't have experience playing in SEC play, but just having on-field experience at this point, especially when Latu's going to be out for a few, for what
Well, and
roughly
well,
few weeks.
there's still a chance that Latu is ready
There's a
by
good
the first
chance.
game of the season. I'm not expecting that simply because if he's gone, he's already missed 1 week of practice, and there's been no indication that he's returning, within the next few days. So if he doesn't get a scrimmage under his belt, I don't see where he would be, playing in the first game against Utah State. So that's still up in the air. So, but I do think he's going to be back sooner rather than later.
Right. And no offense to Utah State, but I would say just rest him for that week. I mean, it's, maybe get him some reps, but I would wait to the next week and get him fully healthy, because that's when Alabama's season starts is week 2. But yeah, I'm interested to see how the freshman Niblack does. There's a lot of hype on him. So, I know he's probably still learning the playbook a little bit, but I have a feeling by the end of the year, people's going to recognize him as being a, the next guy to step up and be a great tight end for Alabama.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And of course, yesterday, Jake, the unfortunate news broke that that JoJo Earl has a foot injury and he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. So what is that, roughly to the 1st of October or so?
Yeah.
So he's going to be out for the first month of the season. So that's a big hit to Alabama. He was projected to be the starting slot receiver alongside guys like Jermaine Burton and probably Ja'Cory Brooks. So not only are they looking for a new slot guy, they're looking for a new punt returner as well, because he was probably going to hold down that position as well. So that's something that's going to be interesting to look out for. And it could be a thing where Jermaine Burton slides over to the slot because he has slot experience from his days at Georgia. So that would not be anything new to him. But you got to think that a guy like Christian Leary is going to step up in the absence of Earl and really make an impact. We saw what he could do in A-Day. So I'm anxious to see if my expectation is that Christian Leary carries over what he done in A-Day during the spring into the first scrimmage this Saturday.
Yeah, I have, I agree 100% with you. And like you said in the video of JoJo's, unfortunate injury, I believe you put that out yesterday. There is that potential that Burton can step in and take that slot receiver position, but if Leary is the guy, I have no doubts that he's gonna be fine there. I hate losing Earl because of the speed. He's a speed demon. Another guy to look out for is the Anderson kid. He's got a lot of speed as well. But for experience wise, I think Christian Leary would take it and he will be fine, at that slot position.
Yeah, and then as far as punt returner go, I'm not sure what they do there because we haven't really had a chance to see any of the practice clips of who's all been back there returning punts. But you got to imagine Jermaine Burton's probably been fielding some punts. Kool-Aid McKinstry's probably been fielding some punts. So I'm not sure how they're going to wrap that up. But that's also something to kind of look out for as fall camp continues. But is there any other maybe position group or particular player or anything like that you're kind of expecting to learn a little more about after following the first scrimmage on Saturday?
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors and people's been asking me about, that second cornerback position. And it looks like, Jackson is pushing Eli Ricks really, really hard right now. I'm anxious to see, can the veteran Eli Ricks hold that down, or is the blood hungry, youngster won't, going to take that position, over. Eli come in for a reason. But I mean, you got guys that can play there, and Kyrie, for the most part, is hanging tough with him. So
Yeah, and Terry and Arnold is as
and
well.
Terry Arnold,
Arnold is having a great fall camp from
hmm
everything I've been hearing.
yeah,
So that's very, very comforting news because you really need four corners that you can depend on.
right,
I mean,
exactly,
we saw that last year because there was moments where both Josh Jobe and Jalen Armour Davis were out, and
yeah.
including the national championship game against Georgia when we had to throw in Kyrie Jackson and Kool-Aid McKinstry. So having four guys that are really dependable and guys that you can count on at corner is very important, especially this day and age in college football.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm interested to see how that's going to play out. And the defensive line, we talked about the other day. I don't know exactly how the starting lineup's going to be because there's going to be 6, 7 guys that you can throw on the first scrimmage, on the first team offense. Who's going to be those 3 or 4 guys?
Right.
That's who I'm anxious to see.
Yeah, me too.
Mhm.
I would love to know what the rotation is going to look like along the defensive line
Yeah,
because I think you're going to see a multitude of guys play there. I mean,
absolutely.
there's so much depth there, and like we've talked about, there's not a true star that we
Right.
know of yet or that we've seen yet. But we know that there's really 8 to 10 guys that could probably possibly see reps and
Yeah.
meaningful playing time this fall. So that is something to be looking out for. And something kind of on a little of a lighter note, Jake.
Mhm.
Uh, we talk about the questions along the offensive line. Did they even let Will Anderson and Dallas Turner scrimmage? I mean,
Yeah.
so they can put up some actual reps against that first team defense because Jake, with both Will Anderson and Dallas Turner on the field, uh, I don't know that Alabama can even block them.
I
So
know. I mean,
I would like to know how they're going to attack that from a blocking standpoint,
yeah.
trying to match up those two guys. That's
Hey,
something to be watching out for as well.
yeah, and don't forget there is, supposedly a package with Anderson, Braswell, and Dallas Turner, and all in on the defense. So I
Well,
mean, my
Coach
gosh.
Saban was very complimentary of Chris Braswell yesterday in his
Mhm.
press conference, talking about how he plays. He's not just a big guy. He's about 6'3" or 6'4", around 240, but he still plays with great power. He has
Mhm.
great speed off the edge, and what makes him such a great pass rusher is that he can turn that speed into power when he has to, and that's what Coach Saban mentioned with his three edge rushers in Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, and Chris Braswell. So with those three guys on the field, we've talked about it before. Good luck. I don't know what to
Good
tell you.
luck. I mean, good luck already trying to stop Turner and Anderson. Now you're going to throw Braswell in the mix.
Right.
I just don't see how you're gonna do it. One other thing I want to mention real quick, and it's I guess I could say I would come to have a love fest for the love session with this guy. But again, talking about a guy who has bought in, Jaheim Otis, man, the incredible transformation is what he, when he come into the program to what he looks like now. I mean, that guy has bought in to the system, and he's doing
Yeah.
everything he can, and I'm glad to see that because that's the kind of passion type players I want on the team.
Exactly, exactly.
So
We won't be able to see the scrimmage this Saturday, but the good news
mhm,
is that the following Saturday I will be in Tuscaloosa for that scrimmage, the second scrimmage they have a fall camp. So
mhm,
I won't be able to divulge too much information, but I can give some tidbits on what I see and what I expect to see moving forward after that scrimmage. So I'm excited
mhm.
about that, and there's going to be some good information coming out, post the August 20th scrimmage. So
Right.
that's definitely something to be watching out for here on Tide Talk Live.
Absolutely. And honestly, Stacey, after that scrimmage, that next week we have Vandy versus Hawaii. So I mean,
Yeah.
football after that, football is here pretty much. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I'm so excited, man. It can't get here soon enough.
Mhm.
We were talking about it at work today, how, you can almost feel it in the air that it's
Oh yeah.
football season. And it's just an exciting time of year. A lot of things going on. I want to mention one other position group that just kind of popped into my head. I
Mhm.
don't think you're going to see any major surprises here, but I am interested to see what happens at middle linebacker. We know that
Yeah.
Henry To'oTo'o is going to be there, and I'm
Yep.
pretty positive that Jalen Moody is going to be the guy opposite of him. But from all indications, guys like Jahad Campbell, Deontay Lawson, even Sean Murphy, had really, really good fall camps. So I would like to see how that's going to turn out. Once, is it going to be a linebacker by committee type thing? Is it going to be, package specific?
You're right.
So I'm excited to see what that position looks like as well.
Absolutely. That's another one that's going to be key. But man, it's exciting times. I mean, it's here, baby. It is
It's
here,
Football is back. Football is back.
man.
All right, but that's going to wrap this video up. Thank you so much for watching. Like we mentioned, we want to hear from you. Jump in the comments and let us know what you're expecting or hoping to learn from Saturday's scrimmage, the first scrimmage of the fall here in 2022. There's so much to look forward to, and we're going to be here every step of the way at Tide Talk Live. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, roll Tide.
Roll Tide.